Rick's Barber here. If I'm going to cut some square tubing, here you see some, it's thin walled, then typically I would just put it in my horizontal vertical bandsaw, clamp it down, maybe reposition it, and now when I go to cut it, the blade is going to first be presented with a very wide area, about a ½ inch, and then after it gets through that, which is going to take quite a while, it's going to hit the two vertical sides of the tubing, which are thin, so it's going to go very fast, and then it's going to go back and hit the bottom, which is another wide area. Normally when I would do a cut like this, I would slow the blade down by holding it, but just to illustrate the point, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let the blade go. There is a risk that if the tooth spacing is too wide versus relative to the thickness I'm cutting, that it could bind up and distort the metal as opposed to cutting it. So let's see how it works. It's going slow as it's presented with a wide area. When it gets through that, it screams through the thin stock, and now it's hitting the wide area at the bottom, and you can see it's going to start to bend over, and finally it pops off. So that's the standard way of cutting tubing. But if you look at a tube, and the reason for the variation is the variation in thickness. If you look at the tube though, turns out that there is a way to hold it so that you get uniform thickness presented to the blade. Got here some V-blocks. These are actually far too good to use on a saw, but they're not at risk of getting hurt, so I'll do that. And I'm going to slide in the stop over here. So now the V-blocks have rotated the tubing by 90 degrees. And let's see how different this is. And again, I'm going to adjust this. Okay, here we go. So it cut about 3 times faster, and there was no sudden transition between thickness. The thickness all the way through was approximately uniform. So if you've got a horizontal vertical bandsaw and you got some V-blocks, the next time you have to cut some tubing, you might want to try this, because it's faster, and I think it's less chance of having problems with the blade. So that's all for now.